Well, for me, I'll never forget the moment Mr. C called me about the Wanksta record. For me, Mr. C was a guy who helped me in my career when a lot of people just that people, you speak to DJs every day, you speak to them, yeah, cool, cool, cool. But Mr. C helped me leveled up. And one thing that I do remember him doing was at a time when I was working independent, I was working 50s records. I had a vinyl that I was pressing for a single called Wanksta. We was independent, so we pressed up the record independently ourselves. And I remember Mr. C looking for who was working the record. Like, so he ended up calling me. He's like, yo, you know anything about this Wanksta record? I was like, yeah, I'm working this. I'm getting ready to press it. He was like, oh, stay on the phone. And at the time, I didn't really have a good relationship with Flex like that. I was still like, this is like early in the business the early time of me coming into the business. And to have a relationship with Funk Master Flex was like, you had to be like a top dog, you know what I mean? So he's like, stay on the phone. I got to get some people on the phone. I was like, all right, cool. So I wait on the line, and C goes, yo, Nell, you on? And I was like, what's up, y'all? He goes, yo, you on with all the pit bulls and Flexes on the phone. So I was like, oh, what's going on, y'all? He's like, yo, tell me what you just told me earlier. I was like, hey, man, I'm pressing up this Wanksta vinyl. When is the Wanksta vinyl coming, Nels? I said, oh, it'll be here by Wednesday or Thursday. I got to go pick it up from the factory. He's like, yo, and Flex, I hear Flex saying, yo, I need you to make sure you bring 60 copies to the office of that vinyl. And I said, well, on the B side, I also put some of the freestyles from the mixtapes, Dirty and Clean, for the DJs. And C was like, you see, Funk, I was telling you, Nels, the guy working the record, this, and that. He was like, Nels, do me a favor, make sure, Flex was like, Nels, do me a favor, make sure you bring that vinyl to the office. And we got you on this record. I was like, all right, anything y'all need from Fifth, drops, whatever it is, let me know. We ready. And I think to me, after I hung up the phone, I just really looked at C like, because he was not just a mix show coordinator. Like, Mr. C is a legend to us. It's when you think of Mr. C, you think of Big Daddy Kane and Biggie Smalls. But for him to be a mix show coordinator in New York, and he's the point person telling DJs, yo, this is the record, this is the next record. And for him to put me on that phone call that day, I thought that was a big move. And from there, I just elevated to another plateau of promotion, in the promotion and marketing game. And I thank Mr. C for that. In 2002, I remember if you remember, well, if you can go back on the timeline, in 2001, Loud Records collapsed. So we all lost our jobs from Loud. We were all independent. We right back on the streets, getting pretty much street team accounts. If you know what street teams are, it covers retail, it covers clubs. It's pretty much working for a record company, and you go out there and help them promote and market their music. So at that time, I was at retail a lot, and I had just left Fat Beats, and I knew how to press up vinyl from working at Fat Beats. I knew how to manufacture, press up, and sell vinyl on a worldwide scale. So I was always running to 50 cents mixtapes on a retail level that Who Kid would put out. And I remember at one time I was hitting up Sha Money and Fifth and saying, yo, let me press up one of these records on these mixtapes. I'm telling you, man, we could take one of these records to the radio level, and we could really, really make something happen out here. And Fifth was like, what record you want? I was like, give me that Wanksta record off the mixtape, the second mixtape they put out together. So the origin story of 50 Cent Wanksta for me was I used to work at Fat Beats in 99 and 2000. At Fat Beats, I learned how to press up vinyl. And back then, vinyl was a big deal, especially, in the underground when you're trying to break a brand new artist, especially independently. And I remember I used to approach Shock. 50 had put out a record called NYPD, LAPD. This was right after he got shot, and I had called Shot Money. I was like, hey, man, this NYPD, LAPD, what's up with this record? It's independent. Let me press it up. We could put it out through Fat Beats. And Shah was like, well, we got another distributor right now, but, I'm glad you called me because I might have other music coming. You know what I'm saying? So at the time, 50 had put out his first mixtape. we're already following the wave, what he's doing at on the street level. But then on the second mixtape that came out, No Mercy, No Fear, again, 50 and G Unit, they freestyling through all these beats, and I'm like I'm looking for like an original record, and Wanksta was the last record on that mixtape. It was like record number 20. I remember calling Shaw and I was like, yo, this Wanksta record, is this original? He was like, yeah. I said, yo, tell Fifth I want to press it up. At the time, we all just had lost our jobs at Loud. So we was all on the street independently. I think I was sitting probably like on my last $5,000 from Loud folding, and they had ended up cashing me out. Fifth was like, yeah, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'll press up 3,000 pieces. I'm going to give 500 pieces to the DJs as promos across the country. And then the other 2,500, I'll put them at retail so I can make my money back. With his blessing, he was like, all right, so go ahead. He's like, well, the records you want. I said, give me these mixtape records you got on there, Fat Chick. Give me the Talib Kweli freestyle. Let me just put them on one piece of wax. Let me clean them for me so that way the DJs can have clean and dirty. And he allowed me to press it up. And the funny thing was the day I had to pick it up, it was 4,000 pieces of vinyl, and I was like, damn. So I just went and got my pickup. I go to the plant, pick up 4,000 pieces of vinyl, come back. I go to Fat Beats, the distribution center. I drop off 2,500 there. No, I drop off 3,000 there, and the other 500 I went to the office upstairs at Fat Beats, and I just started bagging them up, putting them in envelopes and stuff like that, and just writing out, pretty much just mailing it to all the DJs across the U.S., but mainly trying to strengthen up the mailing in the Northeast, because in the Northeast, his buzz was ridiculous. So for me, it was all about getting them going in the Northeast, sending it to all the radio DJs, get some feedback, and then from there on, we'll see what happens. And sure enough, that was the record that I hit the jackpot with. We ended up spending, I think I spent what, $4,000 on pressing that record up. I had $1,000 left to my rent for the following month, but that record, it blew so hard, and at the same time, M and all of them was making calls to pretty much get him signed to Shady Records. So for me, I was just working it on the street, working it at Mix Show, getting it to the radio DJs, and making sure everybody just had the hottest record in New York. And at the same time, Fifth is attacking on the mixtapes and keeps putting out new music. So that record was the pillar for everything else to come, 50 Cent G Unit down the line. So I thought that was my moment of okay, I made it in this music business. I pressed the record from the beginning. We sent it to the DJs ourselves. We waited for the feedback. There was no social media back then. There was no MP3s, so you had to wait at least a week for people to get the records in their mailbox, and for me to get a phone call back saying, yo, this record is hot. This is the same guy who got shot 2 years ago. And I was like, yeah, that's him. It's like, all right, cool, I got you. And it built up real nice. And then by then he got signed, and the hurricane just, it took over, so that was a good moment for me in my life. Yeah, so I pressed up 3,000 pieces of vinyl on Wanksta with a B-side of him freestyling over, some of the freestyles over the mixtape, but I made sure that it was clean, dirty, and instrumental on Wanksta on the A side, and then the B side had all the freestyles that we wanted to put on that vinyl for the DJs, just because those freestyles, they were banging the club too if a DJ had them, you know what I'm saying? So out of the 3,000 pieces of vinyl, 2,500, I went to Fat Beats Distribution, and I pretty much cut a deal with them to sell the vinyl, and then the other 500 I took as promo, and that was a promo I used to ship to all the DJs across the country. And after that, we never looked back. As Wanksta's getting bigger and bigger, 50's still cutting records. He's like, yo, I got this Biggie record, The Realist. I got a couple other records. I said, whatever you want to do. Right now, the doors, the hardest thing in this business is to break through. So I said, we're breaking through independently. He's like, here, take this record, go press this one up. Take this record, go press this one up. But Wanksta's still going on its own. So I ended up, by the end of the day, I probably ended up pressing maybe about 30,000 pieces on that record. And then he got signed. So Interscope took the record over. And by then we was sitting like at 700 mix show spins, and the record was just doing what it was doing. And Interscope ended up putting it on the 8 Mile soundtrack. and they went for ads on the record, and that became his first single before In the Club. But it came off the 8 Mile soundtrack. But before the 8 Mile soundtrack, it came off the streets. So we capitalized off that one. It wasn't an uneasiness because Fifth was so hot on the street. It was me directing everybody towards one record. Like, this is an original record. This is the one we believe in. You know, I even had arguments with, everybody who knows Gabi is my brothers in this business. And he was like, yo, you sure you want to do this? And I was like, man, I'm telling you, bro, this record is going to go. It's going to go. He was like, bro, like, you about to be broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, Gob, I'm telling you, this record's going to go, and I'm going to need your help on this. So we got to make phone calls together, whatever it is, but I'm telling you, this guy is coming. So if you know my brother in this business, Gabi Acevedo from G-Star Entertainment, I remember going to pick up the vinyl and him coming to my house and saying, what are you doing? And then I was like, bro, I just pressed up this vinyl. I dropped it off. Me and you got to ship these to the DJs. Let's go to the clubs tonight, this, and that. And he's like, how much money you spend? I said, I spent this amount. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, you're not, this is not your record. This is, this guy is not signed. And I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, man, this guy's going to go, bro. He's making a lot of noise on the street. He's like, I know he is, but I don't know if this is the record that you want to bet on. And I'm like, Gob, I'm telling you, this is the record, bro. And sure enough, once me and him started running around the nightclubs that weekend and calling DJs, he was just like, yo, this is the record. This is the record. You picked the right one. And we didn't look back from that. What's up, man? Money Nels, and I am a culture builder.